Hi everyone, thank you for joining us at the Generation Green 2021 Youth Conference. This session is brought to you by Georgia Wiggins, who is from our very own Halton Environmental Network. Georgia will be presenting a session on textile upcycling. Get ready to see the wonders of what you can do with old clothing and her amazing DIY. Enjoy!
Hello everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Georgia and I'm from Halton Environmental Network. So for today's textile upcycling workshop, I'm first going to talk a bit about the textile industry and how it contributes to climate change. Then I'm going to show you guys a textile upcycling project you can do to reduce your textile waste and greenhouse gas emissions. So the project we're going to be making today is an upcycled macrame plant holder. When we're finished, it's going to look like this, and then you can hang it wherever you'd like. So the fashion industry has incredibly harmful environmental and societal impacts. Greenhouse gases are emitted during the entire life cycle of a clothing item from its production to its end of life. According to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, the production of 1 kilogram of textiles emits 20 kilograms of carbon dioxide equivalent, and 73% of material used to produce clothing ends up in landfill or being incinerated. And as textiles decompose in landfill, they release harmful greenhouse gases. So by upcycling our end-of-life clothing, we're keeping it out of the landfill, as well as preventing the environmental impacts from a new item being made in its place. So today I'm going to show you guys step by step how to make the macrame plant holder. First, we're going to use an old t-shirt to create t-shirt yarn, and then we're going to use that t-shirt yarn to macrame the plant holder. I really encourage you to use a t-shirt that is worn out, torn, has stains, or not otherwise be worn. So for this project, all you'll need is a pair of scissors, a ruler, and obviously your old t-shirt. So I tried to film this tutorial in real time as much as possible so that you could follow along with me, but obviously feel free to pause the video if you need any more time for any of the steps. So we're going to start by laying the t-shirt out flat and cutting a straight line right across the bottom of the armhole. And we're only going to need the bottom portion of the t-shirt for this project, but please keep the top portion for another scrap fabric project later. Don't stress too much about having your lines that you cut completely straight or even, because it won't really show when we're finished with the project. So we're going to take the bottom half that we cut and we're going to rotate it so that both the side seams are at the top and the bottom and the open parts are on the side. And I'm going to be cutting off the hem for this project, but you can throw it in your scrap pile, and if you do more textile upcycling projects, then you'll probably find a way to use it up. Now we're going to be cutting the t-shirt up into a bunch of vertical strips approximately 3 centimeters wide, and we're going to leave some space at the top. So now I'm just folding my t-shirt up just so that I can cut the lines quicker. We're still just cutting long vertical lines and we're leaving about 5 centimeters at the top. And these are just approximate measurements, it isn't too technical. As you can see, my lines turned out really jagged, so don't worry if yours are too, because it won't show up in the final product. All we're doing is cutting a bunch of strips into our shirt without cutting through the side seam. It's very important to leave those couple of centimeters at the top there so that you're not cutting all the way through. So now we have this band at the top, and basically what we're going to do is we're just going to open it up so that it lays flat. Just try to lay it out as flat as possible, and it should look a bit like a rib cage at this point. And I'm just trying to lay mine nice and flat so that it's as clear as possible for you guys. It's a little tricky showing you how to do this all on camera, but basically we're going to start from the bottom and cut diagonally upwards. And we're just going to keep on doing this to create one continuous strand of t-shirt yarn. So we're going to start from the bottom and cut up to start our strand off. And then we're just going to keep on doing that. We're going to start from the bottom and cut diagonally up to keep continuing our one long strand of t-shirt yarn. Just take a look at what I'm doing and copy the same pattern. We're nearing the end of the t-shirt now, so we're just going to cut diagonally up again to just continue that strand. And for this last piece here, all we're going to do is curve out the edge, and this is just to make it nice and smooth for our one long continuous strand. And now what we're left with is one long coherent string of t-shirt, or as it's called, t-shirt yarn. So you should just go ahead and pull on the fabric, give it a little tug, and this will make the fabric kind of curl in a bit, and it'll give it a nice neat look. For this project, we're going to cut the t-shirt yarn into 8 equal pieces. You could measure it out, but I find the easiest way to do it is to fold the yarn in half and just keep cutting it in half until you have 8 pieces. So I'm matching up the ends and I'm finding the halfway point and cutting it. It's a long piece of string to work with, but once you fold it in half, just go ahead and cut it, and then we're going to fold it in half again. So we're going to find the ends of the strands, and since we cut it, we have 2 pieces. We're going to fold them in and find the halfway point again and cut it, so then we'll have 4 pieces. As you probably guessed, we're going to take those 4 pieces, we're going to fold them in half again, cut it at the halfway point, and then we should be left with 8 somewhat equal pieces. Now to start the macrame, we're going to take our 8 pieces of string and we're going to tie them in one big knot. So now you're going to take the knot and position it so that it's facing the bottom, so it's like the base of your macrame. Then we're going to section each of the 8 strands into pairs, and we're going to tie a knot for each of the pairs. How far up you tie the knot depends on the size of your pot. I did mine about 3 centimeters, and this was the size of the pot I was going to fit. You can make it longer or shorter depending on how big of a pot you need it to fit. I'm just using my ruler to measure out 3 centimeters, and then I'm going to take each pair and tie a knot. And we're going to keep doing this with all of the pairs. So now separate the strands and we're going to tie them again into new pairs. So leave the left one and the right one at the ends out for now and pair them across from each other like I'm showing you here. And sorry if it goes a little bit off camera, but all we're doing is tying these pairs into knots again of the same size. So for me, that's 3 centimeters. Now we're going to take the left and the right end piece and pair them together and tie a knot. So this is what it looks like now, and we're going to repeat the same process to create another row of knots. So we're just doing the exact same process. You're going to take one strand, pair it with the other strand that's across from it, and tie another knot the same length up. For me, that's 3 centimeters. Do whatever length you've been doing. And it helps to pull on the knot a little bit just to make sure that it's nice and secure. So now all of our knots have been tied and we've created the little macrame holder that's going to go around our plant pot. And as you can see, that's what the macrame looks like, but the pattern will be more obvious once you put your pot in it. So then we're just going to finish it off by tying a big knot at the top of the plant holder. Now we can put it all together, so I'm taking my succulent and I'm putting it in my plant holder and we're finished. You can hang it up anywhere you'd like with a screw and a hook, and you saved a t-shirt from going to landfill.
So the current fashion industry is harmful to the environment and to people. Due to the time constraints of this workshop, I've only been able to just barely scrape the surface on the environmental and societal problems caused by the fashion industry. Moving forward, we need to hold companies accountable and demand a large-scale system change. Meanwhile, there are some more actions you can do to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from your own clothing consumption. The most important action you can take is to limit your clothing consumption by only buying what you need and choosing quality over quantity to the best of your ability. Opting for sustainable local brands or secondhand clothing is also great if you're able to do that. You can also reduce textile waste by having clothing swaps with friends and upcycling end-of-life clothing. There are endless ideas of other projects. Feel free to check out my YouTube channel if you're looking for some more inspiration and to learn about sustainable fashion. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'd love to see how your plant holders turned out, and I hope you feel inspired to continue helping the environment and do some more textile upcycling projects.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to Georgia talk about textile upcycling and the wonders of reusing. If you want to take climate action, don't forget to register for the project launch to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. You can find the registration link on the main page. Thanks!